Hey there, this is Robert Hawking. I'm the producer and host of The Creators. My guest this week is Edison Santos, founder of a company called Eco Mensajeria, a business that provides low-income delivery drivers with electric vehicles and the ability to both earn a living and have an impact on the environment around them. This is a very powerful idea because no one is affected more by climate change and pollution than those people at the bottom of the income pyramid. What you very quickly see is how much of a passionate, committed character Edison Santos is. He comes from the Dominican Republic and a very modest background. His father was a delivery driver and his parents both worked long hours to give their sons a better shot at life. Edison knew the effects of poverty because he came from it, and he knew the effects of pollution and climate change because he lived surrounded by it. So through a combination of education and experience, Edison has created a business that's enabling those at the bottom to change their world directly. I think you'll get a lot from our two-part interview with Edison. He's the kind of entrepreneur that personifies what's possible. Thanks for paying attention. Hello, and a huge welcome to my buddy Edison Santos from Eco Mensajera in the lovely Dominican Republic. Edison, thanks so much for agreeing to be interviewed on the story of your business and your entrepreneurial journey. It's so nice to see you.
My friend Robert, it's my pleasure also to be here with you to share this moment that I love it because it gives me the chance to speak to myself, to share, to have this little time to share part of this journey, beautiful journey that has been being alive and been trying to create something that can be part of me to the world as an entrepreneur. So thank you for giving me the opportunity and to keep creating these spaces for people to thrive to their best version. Thank you.
Well, you know what? The reason that I love doing these interviews is because in my history of working with on business strategy, what I've always found is that it's the core drive and sense of purpose of the entrepreneur that ultimately leads to creating a great company. And I remember when I met you, I was blown away by your dedication and commitment to wanting to make the world a better place through your business. And so, we've got the ingredients for a great story here. So why don't we start? Tell us in very simple terms, what does Eco Mensajera do exactly? And then let's start with your history. So let's start there. Why don't you tell us what the business does?
Well, Eco Mensajeria is the first and only sustainable, carbon neutral last mile delivery service in Dominican Republic. Here we call mensajeros to these men using gasoline motorcycles to take things from point A to point B. It can be delivery, but we call them mensajeros. And for you to have an idea, in countries like us and most of Latin American countries, we don't have this postal service around the country functionally. So from the top private bank that want to send the black card to the biggest, richest people in the country, or the simple lawyer that want to send a paper for somebody to sign, they depend on mensajeros. So our idea was to create a business that allowed us to join two principal causes of climate change: energy and transportation, and looking what kind of business model we can develop that we can eliminate the emissions from energy and transportation, so we can create a business model that can contribute to climate change while making profits, okay? But at the same time, impacting the base of the pyramid, like creating jobs for people that really need it, okay? And looking for that, we found the mensajería. How can we make a sustainable mensajería? So we can give those people in the base of the pyramid, the ones who are the most vulnerable, the chance to be the ones who make us less vulnerable in front of climate change. And at the same time, how can we teach the companies that this one that is in the bottom of the economic income in the business, right, in the payroll, and also they are in the bottom of studies, right? They are very basic, the requirements for them to be a mensajero. If we teach the company that the simple one, the non-educational one, the poorest one can be sustainable, so the question will be, if they can be sustainable, what can I, as a manager, as a coordinator, as a CEO, as a director, what excuse I have? Is the mensajero is already sustainable? So that's why we put the slogan, a better world in every delivery, because that's the passion that we drive every day. So today, that idea.
I was going to say that idea of actually taking people that are traditionally seen at the bottom of the pyramid, putting the most vulnerable in charge of helping teach the rest of us how to be better for the environment, I think is such a powerful idea. Now, Edison, Dominican Republic is a challenging country. It's a developing economy, and I know a little bit about your background, but can you tell us where you come from and what eventually led you to starting this business?
Yes. Well, first of all, Robert, my father was a mensajero for 27 years of his life. I have two brothers, bigger than I'm the little one, and he and my mother pay us the university, him as a mensajero. But something interesting is that I didn't create Eco Mensajería because my father was a mensajero. It was very organically that I am joining this purpose of fight climate change with profits, creating new sustainable business ideas. And when we investigate about climate change and principal factors of emission, and we found energy and transportation, but we want to put this social purpose inside the business, we went looking for, and we end with Mensajería. And then I realized that I was the son of a messenger boy, a messenger guy. And it is something very special because it was something very organically as it happens. So as a son of a messenger, I am in my family the first generation with a university title as a professional. My father was the biggest brother, the big brother of 12 brothers in the countryside. For you to have an idea, when I went to visit my grandparents, it was in the river with the cows, with the trees, like very, very, very basic rural side of my country. So my father, as the biggest one of 12 brothers, he went to the city to work, in very basic jobs. He never when he only gets 5th grade, to 5th grade in his studies. And my mom also was from the countryside, from another part of the country. And she was one of these women that the family that live in the city says, you know what, we need somebody to clean, to cook. What if we bring from the countryside the daughter of somebody, And she came to the city to be the maid, in the home of one of their familiars. And the only thing that my grandmother asked to her sister-in-law, something like that, was that my mother got the chance to study. So my mom and my dad were this first generation that come out from the countryside and came to the city, and they got together and they said, our big purpose or project will be to give our sons the chance to be professional. So they dedicate their whole life to give us the chance to be professionals. And coming from that.
I'm curious about that. Sorry, Edison. I was going to say, I'm curious about that. How much of that, I mean, quite humble background, how much of that influenced your desire to be in business and to make that business a social venture?
Well, you know that I think that maybe coming from that poor background, okay, teach me a lot of things, Robert. Things that even today, when I got the chance to have sons, I'm looking for them, right? I'm just thinking, how can I teach to my sons the value of things? Because maybe when they came, I will be, in another economic position, and I will give them a very different lifestyle. But I'm wondering, how can I teach them the value of knowing that a piece of bread, you have to work to earn it? How to share with your brothers the same clothes, and if you use the share this weekend, it's my turn next weekend to put me the cool share because it's only one. Things like that, that makes you understand that you don't need too much to be happy, to be yourself, to it doesn't limitate your talents. Because I something that I discovered uh, is that no matter if I have rich friends or poor friends, everybody has something. Like they were good at something, playing baseball, doing paintings, or any other thing. And one of my talents that I discovered was maybe communication. I was not afraid of talk to people and do things, and that teach me that everybody, no matter if you have resources or not, when you came to the world, we have something very special that is inside us. And the economic situation doesn't take that away from you because it's inside you. I was always the same proactive, creative, non-shy boy since the beginning, and and also, and I think it's part very important of maybe why I end making business to take care of the environment. Okay, it was that background. I learned how what was the countryside at my grandmother place then became a city. Okay, so the urbanization that represents development take away the rivers, the trees, the cows, and everything. So the green side of the world was take away to put these highways and airport and a lot of things. And I think that maybe in my internal mind, I was thinking, why development have to take away environment? Because when I went to the university, I decided to study business administration. And since my first job experience, I had this intuition to start to make things around business and environment. Okay, I remember in 2007 when was my first professional experience that I create the corporate manual for energy efficiency. It's something that just came, and I started to make an interview to the general managers and the directors. How do you think we can use the energy more efficient? Oh, well, in the house we can have just only one TV so the family get together. I remember things they say, and I make this compilation of a picture of them and their ideas of how can we use the energy more efficient. In 2007, I was just taking, receiving my degree from the university, and with the time, I realized that maybe one of the things that very guide me to join business with purpose, and in this case with the environment, of course, you have to be with my background, learning how to lose the environment to get a space to development. and maybe question me why development doesn't get together with environment and still be profitable. And that's part of my mission.
Yeah, I mean, it's quite an inspired way to think, really, because you're right. I mean, the cost of progress is so often to the detriment of both people and the environment. So,
Yeah.
for somebody with your background, it strikes me, as very inspired that you were one of the first in your family to go to university, and even at that point, your consideration was to try and raise yourself up the ladder while also helping people along behind you. So I think that's a pretty inspired view of things. So can you talk to us a little bit about how did this business idea specifically come about?
Well, I got the chance to grow fast in the business sector as employee. Okay, my first job was as a coordinator, then as a corporate manager in another group of companies. Then I was a general manager, and at my 26 years old, I became vice president of a company. And let me tell you something that I think that prepared me to grow that fast in the business administration career was that in my house we always had, since I was a little kid, this grocery store in the garage. So that was the side business, one of them, the side business of my family, because my father and my mother had to work in different places to get the money to make things happen. And one of them was this grocery store in the garage of the house. And of course, it was a time when I have 11, 12, 13 years old that I was like the manager in the afternoons of the grocery store. And it teach me a lot, how to sell, how to put things together so I can sell more to the neighbors. It was the neighbors at the end of the day. How to take the paper with the debt and go neighbor by neighbor. Hey, how are you? What about the 100 pesos that you owe me? Are you gonna pay something? And get money to my father so he can go to buy more stuff. And I say that because maybe people that can see this video have any condition, economical condition, social condition that makes them look poor. I was a young guy that girls knew that I was the grocery boy, and that's not something that makes you sexier. This is the guy from the grocery. Like, what girl wants to be the girlfriend of the grocery boy, But that gives me like an MBA in selling, in recovering the money and investing again and putting things very beautiful so people can buy more. So I think that from any experience that you are living, you can learn a lot. You can just make it positive if you want to. If you want to, take the side of being sad because I'm poor and girls doesn't want me because I'm the grocery boy, that's your decision. But the other one is to make the business grow, to learn about it. And I think that proactivity allowed me to grow faster in my career. But it was a point when I was vice president at my 27 years old that I say, well, I'm on the top and I'm managing business for others. Why I cannot make my own business? Because I was proposing all these sustainability ideas, disruptive ideas, but the private sector with the companies that I was working for, they were in a comfort zone. So, like, why to introduce in 2011 things about CO2 reductions and things like that? It was maybe too early, right? So I said, well, the only way that I can express myself completely is having the chance to have my own company, put in my own rules to validate my own business ideas. And that's why in 2012, I decided to found my first company that is called Sustainable Entrepreneurship. And something interesting about it is that when I finished my MBA with a scholarship, I made an MBA in Sustainable Development and Corporate Social Responsibility in 2009, 2010 in Spain. And everybody was telling me I was crazy because sustainable what? Corporate what? You have to study finance, international business, things that makes you money. And it was, very, very hard because it was only one chance, one scholarship. And I choose this topic that nobody knows, but it was making me the connection with my grandparents, the environment, and the degree that I have from the university business. And it allowed me, sustainability allowed me to put that together, business and purpose. So I love sustainability for that because it calls us to make a triple impact, social, environmental, and economic. So it gives me the two agendas, the service one and the business one in one, sustainability. And I decided in 2009 that my proposition to the world will be this new concept, sustainable entrepreneurship. And when I did that, I look in the internet and Google, and I have the print screens of that time validating that it doesn't exist. Nobody was talking about sustainable entrepreneurship. They were talking about social entrepreneurship. But social is only one part of the three parts that sustainability call us to create. So for some institutions, I'm considered one of the pioneers in the conception and promotion of sustainable entrepreneurship as a concept. So I was trying to introduce that principles in the business that I was general manager, vice president, how to transform them into a sustainable business. But they weren't my business. So in 2012, I decided to create this company called Sustainable Entrepreneurship with the idea of creating new sustainable entrepreneurships, okay? And in the meantime, as a consultant in sustainability for other companies, so I can have the capital to use the consultancy income to develop sustainable entrepreneurships. And Eco Mensajería was like the third one. The first ones didn't work. It failed. One of them was public transportation with electric vehicles in 2012. Here you have these cars, sedan cars, that they are not taxis. They are public transportation that are called conchos. So you take a Honda Civic and you put a badge on it and you are a concho and you transport people, 4 in the back, 2 in the front. So it's like very crowded. And that's very normal here in Dominican Republic and other countries in Latin America. So I decided in 2012 that my first project was going to be the Eco Concho. But it didn't work out, A lot of things, the syndicates didn't allow it. Talking about electric vehicles in 2012 in a developing country was like crazy. Anybody didn't put attention to it. And I learned that maybe I can simplify the idea, moving from cars in public transportation to scooters or motorcycles in a private idea business. So that's how Eco Mensajería was born.
This is the end of part 1. Please click on part 2 to discover why Forbes and Chivas both chose Edison and Eco Mensajería as a business that just might change the world.